Good morning. Today we will discuss some other systems of branch accounting. We have already discussed the debtor system and also the final account system. Now, the third system is wholesale branch system. So, this wholesale branch system is a system which is to be operated when the head office also sells goods to the consumers, to the ultimate consumers, in addition to goods sent to the branch for sale at their end. In this way, the wholesaler, or you can say the head office, sells to the branch as usual and also to the retail customers, or you can say consumers directly, and the price may be charged by the head office to the branch at an invoice price. This invoice price we can call to be the wholesale price. Again, the branch will sell it to the consumers at selling price, which is higher than the wholesale price. Again, the head office when will sell to the consumers, it may be at invoice price or wholesale price, or it may be at retail selling price. This is also at retail selling price. If I shall give you one example, it will be still clear. Suppose the cost to the head office is equal to rupees 100. Cost to the head office is 100, real cost is 100 rupees of some goods. Now, that may be sold to the branch at 180. Suppose the invoice price is 180, but the branch sells it to the consumers at 200. So, the retail selling price is 200. Now, when the head office is selling to the consumers directly, either at wholesale price of 180 or at 200. So, depending on the question whether the head office sending goods or selling goods to the consumers directly at the wholesale price or the retail price, we will have to be careful. Other things will be the same, only this thing we have to be very particular. Now, one problem arises when all the goods have been sold, whatever has been received, goods has been received from the head office by the branch. If it is completely sold, there is no difficulty. Suppose 100 out of 100, that means total goods sent by head office to the branch has been sold to the consumers, there is no closing stock. But if there is closing stock with the branch, the head office knows that on each 100 rupees, 80 rupees profit has been charged. Suppose in a case, half of this goods are not sold. So, the closing stock in branch is to be valued at 180 divided by 2, that is 90. but in 90 rupees there is some profit which has been charged by the head office. What is the profit? If on 100 80 rupees is profit, half of it will be 40 rupees profit. This profit is unrealized profit. So, this unrealized profit of 40 rupees has got to be overcome or to be reduced through one closing stock reserve account. So, this 40 rupees will be transferred to closing stock reserve account in the books of the head office. That 40 I mean the branch does not know about this, but the head office knows that I have added 40 rupees profit on the unsold stock lying with the branch. Therefore, that 40 rupees has to be removed and that will be called closing stock reserve. Again, this closing stock reserve will become opening stock reserve in the beginning of the next year. So, that will be debited and it will be credited. In this way, we will be passing these entries while doing the problem. Now, that profit, that unrealized profit should be rolled back because that has not been earned, it is unrealized. So, the maxim is we have to show the figures at true and fair value. Therefore, that 40 rupees unrealized profit will have to be rolled back by the head office, and in its profit and loss account it will be there, and crediting stock reserve account. The head office will have to credit stock reserve account and debit the profit and loss account. In the beginning of the next year, this stock reserve will be transferred to the opening stock reserve account in the head office books. So, now let us take up one problem and work out the sum in the books of the head office as well as in the books of the head office, but for the head office as well as for the branch. What is the profit, what is the closing stock, what is the closing stock reserve, how it will become the opening stock reserve, that everything can be well understood if we take up a problem. We can take one exercise. This is the problem. A Limited has a retail branch at Kanpur. Goods are sold to customers at cost plus 100%. Okay. Here also we have taken cost plus 100%, this is 100 and that will be 200. The wholesale price is cost plus 80%. Like this, it is 100, but the wholesale price is 80% more, 180. Goods are invoiced to Kanpur at wholesale price. From the following particulars, find out the profit made at the head office and Kanpur branch for the year 2016. Again it is given sales at head office are made only on wholesale basis and that at branch only to the consumers at the retail selling price. Stock at branch is valued at wholesale price. So, now we will be taking up the problem like we will be opening one trading and profit and loss account. So, let us start the problem. A Limited has a retail branch at Kanpur. Okay. So, we will be having in the books of A Limited, that is the head office, we will open one trading and profit and loss account for the year ended such and such. One will be the head office and another will be Kanpur branch. So, here the opening stock first of all will be taking, that is on 1st January 2016, the opening stock is 25,000. To opening stock of the head office, it is 25,000 and that of the branch is 1,800. As you know, it has been given when the cost price is 100, retail price is 200 and the wholesale price is 180. So, that is the price at which the head office sends goods to the branch, but the branch sells it at 200 rupees. Again the head office sells it to the consumer directly at 180. It does not sell at the retail price, it sells at the wholesale price only. So, now from this we can remove the stock reserve, that means the loading on this 1,800. For our purpose we know that it is 1,800, but I mean the branch knows that it is 1,800, but the head office knows that there is some element of profit. What is the amount of profit? The profit will be calculated like this and will be removed in the profit and loss account of the head office. So, it will be by opening stock reserve. Opening stock reserve is there in 1,800. How much it will be? Out of 180, if the cost price is 100, 80 rupees is the loading. So, that 80 rupees will be here, 80 by 80 out of 180 multiplied by 1,800. So, in this way it will be 10, so 800. So, this is the calculation by opening stock reserve 800. Then we will go to the next item, that is purchases. Who makes the purchases? The head office. How much? 1,50,000. So, two purchases $1,50,000. The branch does not purchase anything, so we have given a dash there. Then goods sent to branch at wholesale price 54,000. When goods are sent by the head office, it will be credited by goods sent to branch. By goods sent to branch 54,000. It is the head office which is sending, so head office account is credited 54,000. But at the same times, because it is received by the branch should debit it. So, two goods sent to branch account we can write here, that is two goods received from head office 54,000 here. Then sales are 1,53,000 and 50,000. By sales 1,53,000 so far as the head office is concerned, and 50,000 so far as the branch is concerned. Now, we can find out the gross profit, but by finding out the closing stock only. By closing stock we will have to value, because in the question closing stock is not given. We have to determine what is the closing stock of the head office as well as of the branch. Then expenses are 8,000 and 2,000. These expenses will be appearing in the profit and loss account. So, little bit below I am writing 2 expenses $8,000 and 2,000. Now, we have to do 2 things only, that is the valuation of closing stock in the books of the head office and also in the books of the branch. Once you get the closing stock, then you have to remove the loading also, that will be closing stock reserve. That amount will be called closing stock reserve. Now, let us come to the valuation. Number 1, valuation of closing stock. One is for head office, another is for branch. First of all, we should know that the head office always value it at the cost price, that is 100 rupees, and the branch will have to value it at invoice price or wholesale price. That is 180. So, with this background, let us now move to calculate the closing stock. The opening stock at cost for this. So, opening stock at cost is 25,000 and wholesale price 1,800 so far as the branch is concerned. Then add purchases who had purchased only the head office 1,50,000. So, in this way it is coming to 1,75,000 and 1,800. Then let us come to the goods received from head office, although it is not purchasing, but goods are received by the branch. So, add goods received from head office. How much goods have been received? 54,000. So, in this way it is coming to 55,800 and this is 1,75,000. Then we can go to these things we have taken, this is complete. Now, coming to the uses, goods sent to branch 54,000, this 54,000, but so far as the head office is concerned, it will convert this 54,000 to the cost. So, what was the cost of goods sent to the head office? Not the invoice price or the wholesale price, but the cost price. So, in order to get the cost price, we can apply this formula, that is 100 by 180, because out of 180, 100 rupees is the cost into 54,000. So, in this way it is coming to 30,000. That means, the cost of goods sent to the branch by the head office is 30,000. less cost of goods sent to branch 30,000, that you have to make the calculation. So, in this way it should be 1,45,000 and 55,800 less cost of goods sold cost of goods sold. So far as the head office is concerned, we have to find out what is the cost. What is the cost? The cost is 1,53,000. So that will be sold at 180 rupees. So for each 180 rupees we can take to be the cost only 100. So 100 by 180 into 1,53,000. 100 by 180 into 1,53,000. This will be coming to 85,000. This is coming to 85,000. 100 by 180, so it will be 85,000. Then coming to the sales of the branch, sales of the branch will be at the invoice price or wholesale price. Cost of goods sold for head office and wholesale price of goods sold for branch. So what will be the wholesale price? If it is 50,000, the wholesale price will be 180 out of 200 multiplied by 50,000. Why? Let us clear it. When the branch is receiving the goods, it is receiving at 180 rupees, that is the wholesale price, but it is selling it for 200 rupees. So out of 200 rupees sales, 180 rupees is the branch cost. The cost of the head office is something else, but the branch cost is 180 rupees. So 180 by 200 multiplied by 50,000, that will come to 10,800. It will be 10,800. So if we deduct these two things, what we will get is the closing stock. Closing stock comes to 60,000 and this will be 45,000. So this closing stock we can write here by giving working note number 1. Just mention the working note number 1. So it will be 60,000 and it will be 45,000. Then after getting this one, we have to remove the loading on this 45,000. We can find out the gross profit right away, but out of 45,000 what is the loading? That is closing stock or closing stock reserve. The closing stock reserve will be found out by applying this formula. Out of 45,000 what is the loading? The loading will be 80 by 180 multiplied by 45,000. So in this way it is coming to 20,000. So the loading will be 80 by 180 multiplied by 45,000, which is coming to 20,000. That means in 45,000 actually 20,000 is the closing stock reserve. Let us see on 45,000 what will be the loading? The loading will be this is 10,800. It was 45,000. So, it is 10,800. On 10,800 rather we have to calculate the loading. So, the loading will be 10,800 into 80 by 180. So, that will come to 0. It will be coming to 4,800. So, the loading we can remove here to closing stock reserve $4,800. Once you get this one, then we can find out the gross profit by totaling this one and balancing here. This side is coming to 60,800 and this is coming to 2,67,000 and that is coming to 60,800. Keeping 60,800 here and 2,67,000 here, we will be getting the gross profit. To gross profit carried down. 60,000 minus 800 gone 55. So, it will be 5,000. Gross profit by gross profit brought down, this will be 5,000. And coming to this gross profit, let us calculate, that is coming to 1,67,000, 75,000, 1,75,000, this is 267. So, the gross profit will be 92,000. Gross profit will be 92,000. Let us put this 92,000 gross profit brought down to this place and we can find out the net profit here. This is 92,800 and this is 5,000. 5,000 and 92,800. To net profit, it will be 3,000, that is 5,000 minus 2,000 and this will be 92,800 minus 892 minus 12. So, it will be 80,000. So, in this way we can find out the net profit by going through these two accounts and by making the valuation of closing stock number 1 and number 2 removal of loading on opening stock as well as on the closing stock. This is the loading on opening stock and this is the loading on closing stock. You should be very careful in calculating these two things because the profit rate will be different, that is 100, 180 and then 200. On the basis of this simple arithmetic calculations you will do it. So, this is all regarding your wholesale branch system. After completing 3 methods, now let us go to the 4th method, that is stock and debtor system. Number 4 is stock and debtor system. This is also called analytical method. It is called analytical method because a practical synthesis will have to be done here we have to divide all the transactions into different accounts, and each account will be in charge of taking some responsibility. So, what are the accounts we will be preparing? We will be preparing number 1, branch stock account, number 2, branch debtors account, number 3, goods sent to branch account, number 4, branch adjustment account, number 5, branch expenses account, number 6, branch PL account, and lastly, if required we can prepare one branch cash account. What are the functions of these accounts? As I told you, it is called analytical method because we are going to analyze the transactions under these heads, under these 7 heads by preparing 7 accounts. Now, what are the functions? So far as the branch stock account is concerned, it will take charge of opening stock, closing stock, goods received from head office, then sales, both cash sales and credit sales, then pilferage or abnormal loss, etc. So, all these things will be taken care of by branch stock account. We will work out a problem in order to clear these things, but for the time being let us know what are the contents of the branch stock account. These things will be there in the branch stock account. Then we will come to the branch debtors account. In the branch debtors account, we will have opening balance and closing balance of debtors at the branch. Then credit sales, next cash received from them from branch debtors, then discount allowed, bad debts, allowances, etc. That will be there in the branch debtors account. Goods sent to branch account as usual record only when the goods are sent, and the loading if any, how it will be removed from goods sent to branch. Now, this branch adjustment account will be taking care of 2 things: all the loadings in whatever place, that is opening stock loading, closing stock loading, goods received from head office loading, goods returned by head office loading, all the loadings will be taken care of. Even in the abnormal loss, the loading portion will be transferred to the branch adjustment account. Then we will come to the branch expenses account. Branch expenses account, whatever money has been sent to the branch for expenses, different expenses, what is the amount spent on different heads, and again the discount on bad debt, etc. allowed to the branch debtors will also get a place in the branch expenses account. And the branch expenses account, being a nominal account, will be transferred to the branch profit and loss account directly. The balancing figure will be going to the branch profit and loss account. Then the branch profit and loss account will be getting I forgot, branch adjustment account will take care of all the loadings, plus it will also spell out the gross profit. That gross profit will be carried down to branch PL account. Now, the branch PL account will take care of the branch expenses, gross profit and determine the net profit. And if required, in some problems we may open one branch cash account. So, whenever cash is received or cash is paid, those transactions will be recorded in the branch cash account. So, now let us know what are the journal entries for different transactions in case of a stock and debtor system. Journal entries in the books of the head office in case of a stock and debtor system. First one will be when goods are sent to branch. First of all, assume that you are in the head office and you are doing the accounts. So, when goods are sent by the head office to the branch, what entry you will make? You will have to write branch stock account debited, because it will go to the branch stock account debited to goods sent to branch account. So, branch stock account debited to goods sent to branch account. If the goods are sent at invoice price also, you write this one at the invoice price, otherwise it is at the cost price. So, branch stock account debited to goods sent to branch account. The next thing is when goods are returned by the branch to the head office, then the entry will be reversed. Number 2, for return by the branch to the head office. It is just an opposite transaction. So, the entry will be also opposite, that is goods sent to branch account debited to branch account, to branch stock account. This will be the second entry. Third entry will be when sales are made by the branch. For sales at the branch. Now, if it is a credit sale, what will be the entry, and if it is a cash sale, what will be the entry? For credit sale, the entry will be branch debtors account debited to branch stock account. Why this entry? Because the stock is reducing. So, branch stock account will be credited. It is a real account, credit what goes out. So, branch stock account will be credited. Who will be debited? If you are receiving cash, it is all right, but if you are not receiving cash, then branch debtors account will have to be debited. So, branch debtors account debited to branch stock account. If it is a cash sale, cash account debited to, for cash sales, it will be cash account debited to branch stock account. How cash account will be debited? Because if you remember, we have already discussed, it is a dependent branch. Stock and debtor system also is meant for dependent branches. So, in case of a dependent branch, one of the characteristics is that whatever cash has been received by the branch, immediately it has got to be sent to the head office. Therefore, this account, on account of sale, whatever amount has been received in cash, that has to be remitted to the head office. So, cash account, cash is coming in to the head office. So, cash account debited to branch stock account, branch stock is reducing, that is why branch stock account will be credited. Now, if there is one branch cash account, it will be transferred to branch cash account. If branch cash account is not maintained, then cash account debited to branch stock account. Next entry will be for cash or bills receivable received from the debtors. Number 4 entry is for cash or bills receivable received from branch debtors. If the branch debtors are giving us cash or they are giving us a bills receivable, the entry will be cash or bills receivable account debited to branch debtors account. Debit what comes in and credit the giver. Now, if this bills receivable is discounted in the bank, when the bills receivable is discounted in the bank, you can write cash account debited or bank account debited. For the amount of the discount, it is an expense. So, branch expenses account debited to bills receivable account. So, the bills receivable which you have received, suppose for 1000 rupees, now will be credited with 1000 rupees, and if there is a discount of 100 rupees, you will be receiving 900 rupees cash or bank account. So, this will be the entry. Next entry is for discount allowed, allowances and bad debts. So, any discount allowed to the branch debtors or any allowances made or any bad debts occurred, then these are all expenses. So, the entry will be branch expenses account for bad debts, discounts, allowances to debtors. So, when we are allowing some discount or allowances or there is a bad debt, the debtor will be reducing. When the debtors will reduce, naturally debtors account will have to be credited. And what will be debited? These are all transferred to the branch expenses account. So, branch expenses account debited to branch debtors account. So, this will be the entry for bad debts, discounts, allowances to debtors, etc. Then, for agreed allowances to customers of selling price already taken into account while invoicing, in that case it will be branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. For agreed allowances to customers of selling price already taken into account of selling price already taken into account while invoicing. That means when we have already sent the goods, by deducting the allowances to the customers, the net amount has already been given to them and it has been already taken into account while invoicing, while sending the goods. At that time the entry will be branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. Branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. Number 8 is when goods are returned by branch debtors. We have already taken one return, that was branch is returning goods to the head office, but here it is the branch debtors who are returning the goods to the branch. So, naturally in the branch stock account will be increased. So, branch stock account debited to branch debtors account. Stock will increase and debtors will decrease. To branch debtors account. So, when they return goods, our branch stock will increase. So, branch stock account debited and our branch debtors will be reduced. So, it will be credited. An asset when is reduced, then it has got to be credited. Then when goods are returned by branch direct to the head office, because the goods must have been sold at an invoice price, naturally there is some loading. So, when goods are returned by the branch debtors direct to the head office, that loading will have to be calculated and taken care of, and the entry will be goods sent to branch account will be debited at cost, branch adjustment account debited with loading to branch debtors account. With the invoice price. Then for goods in transit, so there will be goods in transit or cash in transit. So, for goods in transit, number 10, for goods in transit, it will be goods in transit account debited to branch stock account. And if there is cash in transit, for cash in transit, cash in transit account debited to branch cash account. Because cash in transit or goods in transit will be debited because this is an asset, and excuse me, branch stock account will be created because we have already debited the branch stock account when goods are sent. So, out of them if some 10% 20% goods are not reached the branch stock or branch, then naturally that account has to be credited, reduced. So, branch stock account is created. Similarly, if branch cash account is opened and they have sent some cash, but it has not reached, then it will be cash in transit account debited to branch cash account. Then for normal loss of stock, branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. For normal loss, branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. What is normal loss? Normal loss is that loss which will take place in spite taking all types of precautionary measures. Due to the inherent nature of the goods, like suppose take the case of petroleum products. If you keep petroleum products for months together, naturally something will evaporate, because that is the genuine nature of the petroleum products. So, this type of loss is called normal loss, and in case of normal loss, because it is a loss and all the loss will go through that branch adjustment account. Branch adjustment account when is debited, it represents some loss. Branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account, because the quantity of stock will be reduced. So, branch stock account will be created. This is in case of normal loss, but in case of abnormal loss, you have to take two accounts. How? Let us explain. This is number 12. Number 13, abnormal loss. First of all, let us come to know what is abnormal loss. Abnormal loss can take place in different ways, like loss by fire, loss by accident, or suppose loss by pilferage, loss by theft. All these are abnormal losses. In case of abnormal loss, we will have to credit branch stock account, no doubt, but the debit will have to be split to two accounts, that is branch adjustment account and branch profit and loss account. So far as the cost portion is concerned of the loss of the abnormal loss, that will go to the branch PL account, and the loading portion will be debited to the branch adjustment account. So, the entry will be branch PL account debited with the cost of abnormal loss, branch adjustment account debited branch PL account debited, branch adjustment account debited with the loading. So, the shortage, if any, that will be accounted for like this. Surplus will be in the opposite manner. So, to branch stock account with the invoice price of the abnormally lost goods. So, that is number 13. The next one will be when goods are transferred from one branch to another branch. Transferor branch will write goods sent to branch account debited, branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account. This is just like the return. The transferor branch, there are two branches, transferor branch and for inter branch transfer of goods. So, in the books of the transferor branch, for the transferor branch, this will be goods sent to branch account debited with cost branch adjustment account debited with the loading to goods sent to branch account debited, because the transferor branch is giving us. So, to the branch stock account. Let me make it more clear. When we are dealing with the transferor branch, this will be the set of entries, and in the transferee branch, for the transferee branch, the entry will be different. First, let us clear from this. When the transferor branch is sending the goods to the transferee branch, it is like this. Suppose this is the head office, this is the transferor branch, and this is the transferee branch. Goods are sent from head office, head office gives the order that you please transfer to the transfer branch. Actually, the goods will move like this, physical goods will be like this, but through the accounts how it will be done? As if the transferor branch is returning the goods to the head office, and the head office sending is the goods to the transferee branch. Now, when the head office is getting the return from the transferor branch, goods sent to branch account debited, branch adjustment account debited to branch stock account, because that branch stock account will be reduced. So, goods sent to branch account debited at cost, branch adjustment account debited with the loading to branch stock account, and here it will be just the reverse. There it will be branch stock account debited with the invoice price to goods sent to branch, because goods are going now to goods sent to branch at cost, and to branch adjustment account with the loading, and it is the invoice price. Similarly, here cost, loading, and it will be at the invoice price. Transferor branch and transferee branch. In this, two entries will have to be passed in the books of the head office, one for the transferor branch, another is for the transferee branch. Then, for apparent profit over the invoice price, sometimes what happens in the credit side of the branch stock account, it is more, and in the debit side is less. In the debit side, what do we record? We record the opening stock, we record the goods sent to the branch, but if the sales will be more, just a simple example, how can the sales will be more? Because there is some apparent profit. Usually, the branch manager is advised to sell the goods at invoice price. The invoice price is the selling price. But if more than that, if he is so calibered, if he is so efficient, he can sell it at still a higher price, then there will be apparent profit. In that case, there will be a gap in the debit side of the branch stock account. So, naturally, branch stock account debited to branch adjustment account. That entry will be branch stock account debited to branch adjustment account. Number 15. Branch stock account debited. So, branch stock account debited to branch adjustment account. This will be for the apparent profit. Then number 16 entry is for branch expenses. For branch expenses paid in cash, the entry will be branch expenses account debited to cash account. Why cash account is created? Because anyway, for the expenses to be incurred in the branch, for the branch expenses, the head office is giving the reimbursement or making the payment. So, cash account will be created. and branch expenses being a nominal account will be debited. Now, number 17 will be for closing branch expenses account. Branch expenses account can be closed by transfer to the branch adjustment account and to the branch PL account. So far as the non-recurring expenses will be there for closing branch expenses account, actually there are two types of expenses, recurring and non-recurring. For recurring expenses, that means the expenses which will be occurred every month or more than once, that is called recurring expense, like rent, salary, etc. But if one time expenses are incurred, that is non-recurring in nature, that will be, these recurring expenses will go to the branch PL account, and for non-recurring it will go to the branch adjustment account. So, the entry will be branch adjustment account debited with the non-recurring expenses and branch PL account debited with the recurring expenses to branch expenses account. See, the branch expenses account which was debited here is being credited here. So, it is closed. Branch expenses account is a nominal account. So, it has got to be closed by transfer to the branch adjustment account. So, far as the non-recurring concern is non-recurring expenses are concerned, and to the branch PL account if it is recurring in nature. Next will be for adjustment of excess price of the opening stock. When goods are sent at invoice price minus cost price, that is the loading, is to be removed on the closing stock. So, also in the next year on the opening stock. So, for that we will be opening two accounts, one is opening stock reserve, another is closing stock reserve. So, this opening stock reserve and closing stock reserve will be transferred to branch adjustment account. So, when we will be finding out for adjustment of excess price of the opening stock, this will be stock reserve or opening stock reserve account debited to branch adjustment account. Next entry will be for adjustment of excess price on the opening stock. So, loading, if it is 17, then it will be 18, loading on opening stock. So, that will be opening stock reserve account debited to branch adjustment account. Similarly, for loading on closing stock, the entry will be different, that means opposite. So, it will be branch adjustment account debited to closing stock reserve account. Then we have to remove the loading on goods sent to branch. The net loading on goods sent to branch also we will have to remove. That will be goods sent to branch account debited to branch adjustment account. For removal of loading on net goods sent to branch. We are sending some goods to the branch is returning some goods. So, on the net amount of goods sent to branch, we have to remove the loading, and the loading will again go to the branch adjustment account. So, that will be goods sent to branch account for adjustment of excess price of goods sent to branch account debited to branch adjustment account. Then the next entry will be, if any insurance claim has been received, that will be insurance claim received for receiving insurance claim you can write bank account or cash account debited, or if it is not received but the claim has been admitted, insurance claim account debited to branch PL account. To branch PL account. Now, we have to transfer the gross profit to the branch PL account from the branch adjustment account, and the entry will be branch adjustment account debited to branch PL account. Number 22 will be for gross profit transferred to branch PL account. This will be branch adjustment account debited to branch PL account. In case of gross loss, this entry will be reversed, that means branch PL account debited to branch adjustment account. Then now there will be either net profit or net loss. If there is net profit, that will be branch PL account debited to general profit and loss account. For transfer of branch profit to general PL account. So, it will be branch PL account debited to general profit and loss account. If there is net loss, this entry will be reversed. This is for the net profit earned by the branch. So, branch PL account debited to general profit and loss account, and general profit and loss account is created by branch PL account. When there will be loss in the branch, then naturally general profit and loss account will be debited. So, if general profit and loss account will be debited, branch PL account will be credited. Only one entry is now left, that is number 24, for closing goods sent to branch account. The balancing figure of the goods sent to branch will be transferred to purchases account or trading account. For closing the balance of goods sent to branch account. So, if it is a trading concern, it will go to the purchases account, that means it will be goods sent to branch account to purchases account or to trading account. If it is a manufacturing concern, it will be transferred to the trading account. So, with these 24-25 entries, we will have to work out the problem on stock and debtor system. In the next class, we will take up a good problem on stock and debtor system, an ideal problem, and your understanding will be still more clear. Thank you.